This is the third video about our new Thinking in Layers digital twin retail location model. The first video explained why a new solution is needed. The second, how the latest digital twin technology significantly improves location intelligence. And this video demonstrates what it delivers. First, it provides a retail performance overview in the broader context of its industry. Second, it provides a deeper level of understanding and accuracy by estimating revenue potential using supply and demand as inputs. Third, it differentiates by trade area type or class of shopping center. Fourth, it pioneers the use of social media brand metrics. Fifth, it includes demographic data. Sixth, it includes customer segmentation. And seventh, it covers the detail and the bigger picture by including multiple retail categories. Tab 1 begins with an overview of the retail brand's network performance in the context of its industry. To demonstrate the model, I've pre-selected American fast food as the retail category and the A&W network as the retail example. Note that site and trade area counts are different when retailers have more than one site in a trade area, and also note that this list excludes sites in food courts. F2 maps out each of the A&W trade areas. Supply or fast food competitors are on the x-axis, and they include a full listing of both chains and independents. Demand, or adjusted consumer spend, is on the y-axis, and it's defined as total restaurant spend adjusted for consumers living inside the trade area but eating in restaurants outside of it. The power of the model is that it uses both supply and demand as inputs into estimating revenue potential across over 200 retail categories. Revenue potential is then scored and benchmarked across all Canadian trade areas. Colors show three revenue potential categories: top third, mid, and bottom third. F3 compares the total and top revenue categories for all American fast food competitors. On the bottom axis, we have the percent of each revenue network in the bottom third of revenue sites, while on the vertical axis, the top third. The crosshair lines indicate the average for all competitors. In this example, the A&W network is slightly above average with 26% in the top third and 38% in the bottom third. Tab 2 is a summary of the model output. Let's look at trade area performance inside the A&W network. The table is a summary of trade area supply and demand conditions along the top row, which in turn creates specific optimization actions on the left column. For example, high potential, low competition refers to trade areas in the top one-third for revenue potential and the bottom one-third for competition. These trade areas typically create the best opportunities for expansion and are further divided into the best sites with the highest revenue and good sites with slightly lower revenue. The first part of the action indicates whether the site is a candidate for expansion or keeping the site fresh, maintaining it, or downsizing it, while the second part is the rationale. The numbers denote the number of trade areas in each category. The action at the bottom of the first column refers to a cluster trap. Cluster traps occur when the businesses mimic the strategy of their competitors by locating where they are, but don't realize you can easily end up with too many competitors for the size of the trade area. A&W has almost one-third of their network in cluster traps, where high competition makes it difficult to grow the business, and yet it often doesn't make sense to close it either and give market share away. This is a large factor negatively affecting the profitability of the current A&W network, and the map shows it affects the network from coast to coast. Let's flip the analysis and look at the 4,015 trade areas outside the A&W network. Note that the optimization actions now relate to site selection. Let's choose the top one-third revenue potential locations and then remove the sites in the north for a total of 1,634 possible new sites. This represents the raw capacity of the A&W brand to grow in Canada. Tab 3 provides additional detail by showing the optimization actions across 7 trade area types along the top row. Trade area types are based on the size and level of competition ranging from large regional to small neighborhood. Trade area visibility is on the second column and is based on the total households in the trade area, not just the households expected to purchase goods and services, so therefore the higher the better. Let's filter out the suboptimal expansion opportunities. First, let's remove trade areas in the bottom third of the visibility score. And second, let's remove the lower revenue potential sites in the smallest neighborhood trade areas. This leaves us with 1,306 potential new sites. Tab 4 pioneers the ability to incorporate online social media brand metrics into the site selection process. Brand sentiment is based on the average Google review rating for all competitors in a trade area, and brand awareness, the total number of Google reviews. Brand metrics are scored and benchmarked against all trade areas in Canada and then divided into three categories, top, mid, and bottom third, which are then summarized into a single metric along the top row. For example, low sentiment, high awareness means these trade areas are in the bottom third in brand sentiment and top third in brand awareness. Let's choose only trade areas in the bottom third of brand sentiment because this indicates that consumers are less than satisfied with their current retailers, which will favor a new entry into the market. This brings the total number of potential new sites down to 867. Tab 5 identifies the trade areas where competitors are individually in the top one-third in brand sentiment, but still in overall low sentiment trade areas. Competitors are compared against the trade area actions along the top row. The first column is the retail brand, the second the number of trade areas, the third is the brand level, and the fourth the trade area count. Let's remove trade areas where the direct high-end burger establishments have a high brand sentiment because consumers are likely to be loyal to them, making it more difficult for a new entry to gain market share. For this example, let's remove trade areas where Five Guys have a high brand sentiment. Tab 6 provides the means to include demographics into the site selection process. The first column lists the demographic variable with over 2,000 available. Second is the total number of trade areas. Third, the brand level. Fourth, the trade area count. Let's remove trade areas where there is a high proportion of households with income over $200,000, with the assumption that high-income households may not frequent fast food restaurants as often as lower-income households. This brings the total number of potential new sites down to 475. Tab 7 provides the means to include geodemographic or customer segments. They are typically used by retailers who have previously segmented their existing customer base, which is then used to find new sites. Panorama is our own Canada-US segmentation system built with our partner Applied Geographic Solutions. It consists of 26 groups and 99 segments. The groups are listed in the first column, the second the total number of trade areas within the group, third the level, and fourth the number of trade areas where the group's proportions are in the top third. In this example, let's remove the top earners and suburban elites because they have the highest income levels. Now let's go back to tab 2 and expand the analysis to additional retail categories. Let's set the retail category to total fast food because American fast food restaurants also compete with other restaurants. Now let's remove the low revenue potential sites, including cluster traps. This brings us down to 346 top new potential sites. Let's expand the analysis even further and set the retail category to full-serve restaurants and again remove the low revenue potential sites. Going to the trade area tab shows that we have found 234 excellent potential new sites, most of which are in neighborhood trade areas. Not surprisingly, the same trade area types typically overlooked by conventional location methods. Now let's go to the detailed data tab with our results. The first two columns give the location, the third the trade area type, the fourth the competitive count, the fifth and sixth the adjusted market size in terms of dollars and households, the seventh the recommended action. The last 7 colored columns give 0 to 100 percentile scores. A score of 75 means the variable is higher than 75% of all trade areas in Canada. A score of 50 means it's average. The first 2 colored columns indicate the revenue potential for American fast food and total fast food in this example. The next 2 columns are input, supply, and demand scores that deepen our understanding of why revenue potential is the level it is. The next column is the visibility score, which is like demand, except it includes all households living in the trade area. And then the last 2 columns are consumer sentiment and awareness scores for the existing competitors, if any. Thinking in Layers digital twin technology creates a new standard for retail location intelligence, building higher revenue and lower cost retail networks. Number 1, the model covers over 200 retail categories across Canada. 2, it creates a deeper level of understanding and accuracy by estimating revenue potential using both supply and demand. 3, it differentiates between classes of shopping centers ranging from super regional to small neighborhood. 4, it pioneers the use of social media brand metrics. 5, it includes demographics. 6, it's capable of including customer segmentation. And 7, it supports both a detailed and big picture approach by incorporating multiple retail categories.